It took me 48 years to learn what I'm going to tell you in less than 10 minutes. And this is actually the hardest thing to learn. This isn't going to go where you think it's going to go. First realization is that the hardest thing to learn is how to be yourself. Totally, right? Like that's really hard. And have I learned how to be myself? Absolutely. But how I learned how to be myself isn't going to be what you think. People can not only spend their entire lives not knowing who they are, but not being themselves. They become a version of what their parents wanted or what society expected or what their trauma shaped them into. So it can seem like most of our identity is just this patchwork of external influences. But here's where the breakthrough comes. In what I learned after 48 years is something else. We are already our true selves. We think we don't know who we are, but that is who you are. Somebody who is unsure of themselves. That is who you are in that moment. We think we're supposed to be something more authentic, but in reality, we've always been exactly who we are. We've always been our real selves, whether we like it or not. That is us. You can go ahead and say you've been wearing a mask or not showing people your real self, but even that is yourself being who you are in that moment of masking. That is you still. I mean, who else could it be? It's like you can be one way or you can be another. And what lives in the middle is your awareness that you are always you. We think there's this true self underneath everything, but everything is always who we truly are. Now, here's the last part. You know who you are. You are always yourself, regardless of all of the people that you're trying to be. The last piece in being yourself is accepting it. And I've learned that everyone is who they are, but not everyone accepts themselves. And that can be a huge game changer once you accept who you are. But people don't want to accept who they are. They're like, I don't want to be this person. This isn't me. I don't want to be like this. I don't accept it. Well, now you've created an inner conflict for yourself. So there's this huge difference of being your real self and accepting it. You're always your real true self. But the hardest thing to learn is how to accept this self of yours and all of its faces. You see, you have your personality. That's you. There may be a few versions of you that are shaped by different environments and different roles you've played. That's all normal and that's all you. There's the things you like, your preferences. Even if they came from someone else's influences, they still reflect the parts of who you are. Even if you say, I don't have a preference or I don't know what I like, then your preference is no preference. What you like is uncertain. Accept that it's fine to not always know. And the goals that you're chasing, your desires, even if they've been guided by what other people expected you to do, and even if you've gotten to a place with no goals and no desires, then so be it. Accept that who you are is without goals. Just as having goals is acceptable, not having them is fine too. Now you might be making it a goal to get a goal. Okay, so you're in the process of discovering your next goal. Or you decide that you don't care to have goals and who you are is just fine with that. Every part of you, the real, the raw, the imperfect parts, as well as the polished, socialized, conforming versions of you, is also you. Consider that you're never being fake. It's all you, all the time. It's always you. So here's the catch. We've been taught to think there's a real version of ourselves that we need to uncover. I want to find my authentic self. But the truth is, we're already living as our true selves in every moment. But what might not be happening is accepting it. It just comes down to having a life that you want versus having a life that you don't want. Being a certain way that you like or something about you that you don't like. Oh, how can I be my real self if there are things about me that I don't like or having a life that I don't want? Sorry, but it's all real and it's all you. It's who you are in this moment right now. What makes you unauthentic is failing to accept who you are in this moment. But even that, you're actually still your true self who's in a state of unacceptance. So you are authentically unaccepting of yourself. And that's fine. There will be moments of that, a lot of moments actually, because you are what they call a human being. So stop trying to not be yourself. Just accept it instead. You don't need to wait to discover your true self. You've always been it. You are always here for yourself to discover. So there can never be any faking it. Instead, you are always it in whatever way you choose to show up. So don't say, oh, that wasn't me, or I wasn't being my true self. No, you just were not accepting of your true self. You were wishing you were someone else, but in fact, you're always you. So although it's true that we can be externally motivated, it's also true that we can be internally motivated. Everyone's personality is shaped by both factors. And if you are in a place where you don't like yourself, then that is also you being true in that moment. It's true that for whatever reason, you're not happy with your life. There's nothing wrong with that. That is your real self experiencing real life. So accept it. Or do you tap into what is also your true self that can be motivated and can be happy and is content with where your life is at? It's possible for two things to exist at once, but you are always you. And although you are always you, we are always subject to change. It's what we're here to do. It's the only constant in the world. But it's still me. I haven't changed. I'm just a person who is subject to change, but it's always still me. So we can consider that we're all wearing masks. We all have personalities that are diverse and subject to change. It doesn't mean that we're inauthentic or disingenuous or fake. It's just who we are. You are always you. You are never not you. You can never say, oh, that wasn't me, or I don't feel like myself. No, you are always who you are, whether you're under the weather or you're acting out of character. It's always you. We're also committed to being our authentic selves, but no one wants to learn how to just accept ourselves just as we are. That's the most authentic thing you can do. So if you hear yourself asking, who am I? You can let yourself know that who you are is exactly who you are right now. If that is lifeless, depressed, uncertain, lacking direction, unmotivated, and lazy, then this is who you are right now. You think you know me based on who I was the last time we met. But don't make that assumption, because then you kill who I am in the present moment. Moment to moment, we must be open to the dynamic forces of energy that we are. Life isn't always about being the same person, but knowing that you are always a person who is subject to change. And then you can accept that person in each and every moment. Angry, sad, happy, frustrated, hopeful, optimistic. Just because you're feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or you're not being your true self. It's that you're not accepting yourself. That's the lesson.